to Eye on Horror, the official podcast of iHorror.com. This is episode 101, otherwise known as season 6, episode 2. I am your host, James J. Edwards, and with me, as always, is your other host, Jacob Davison. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing fantastic. My team, the Frogurt, is also cursed, won Dead Right Horror Trivia last night.
How often do you win it, though? You guys have won it before, right?
Well, that's the thing. We win rounds, but this is like the first time in person we've won like the full blown game. I'll get into it, but yeah, it was pretty elating.
Congratulations, bud.
Thank you.
Also with us, as always, is your other host, John Correia. How you doing, Correia?
Doing fucking fantastic. Let me tell you. I'm finally finishing my 8-month-long gig that was supposed to be only 4 days. And don't get me wrong, very thankful to have had that gig. It's paid my rent for 8 months. I've saved some money. Met some great people working on it, but it's time for me to move on. And it is a great feeling. So, yeah, I feel fantastic.
Let's start off because I don't think we've talked about it at all yet. And it's getting close. What do you guys think about Scream 6?
Ooh, I'm so stoked.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited because I feel like it's kind of jumping off from what Jason Takes Manhattan should have been.
Well, but the thing is, it's not. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. That the parallels, but I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be more like Scream 2 because it's following the Jenna Ortega character to college, and of course her sister goes with her to look after her. And I think that probably everyone's going to go to college at the same place in New York. At least that's from my understanding. That's what it is. So it's going to be like Scream 2, where Ghostface follows Sydney and Randy and them to college. So I think it's supposedly it's going to have a higher body count and it's going to be more brutal.
I mean, that trailer alone sold me on that. I mean, the whole Ghostface takes the shotgun bit. Holy shit.
If you look at the new Ghostface, he's like, he's gritty now. He's
got like that gross, like peeling mask.
Well, they got multiple ghost faces is what it looks like. And one of them is the reboot mask ghost face. You know, the mask has been buried for years and now it's resurrected for the title reboot one, which I thought was hilarious. But did you guys notice? Because remember last time we had Amma on the podcast with her and Brandon, they mentioned that she might be involved with it somehow. And you see it in the trailer.
There's a shrine.
In the shrine scene, you see the shorts that, what's her face?
Tatum.
Rose McGowan's character in the first one dies in. And they have like a display of it. That's Alma's creation. And that was so cool. Not only seeing her work on the screen, but it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Congrats, Alma. That's fucking awesome.
That's very cool.
Good for her.
The thing is, they're bringing back Kirby, which is which is totally awesome. But also, I've seen like, and I don't know if this is like a red hair and they're trying to throw people off. I've seen pictures of Jill, the Emma Roberts character, coming back, and she's like in prison. And how does that happen? They defibrillated her brain.
You know, I've seen those things. I'm 90% certain those are images from Scream Queens. Of her in the prison suit.
Okay.
I think that's from the end of season 1 or the beginning of season 2 of Scream Queens.
Okay, so they're faking us out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a few fake out. My feed is being filled with fake shit, and I've been trying to like go, no, I'm not interested in that, like Fandom Wire or whatever. I'm just like, I don't care. Go away.
Okay. So did I fall for a "we got this covered" story?
You might have. I'm not gonna be definitive on this, but like I said, I'm fairly certain. And this is only because I've seen season 1 and 2 of Scream Queens about a dozen times. So
that makes sense. I haven't seen it at all, but
you're missing out.
I was wondering, I'm like, okay, we watched her brain get defibrillated. How do you come back from that?
I don't know.
That's the thing. I think it might be a fake out, but
I think it is.
We'll see. Or it would be kind of funny if because the other thing was she wasn't mentioned in the last movie, but the only other thing I could see is like her being like kind of that Hannibal Lecter ghost face that they go to for advice or whatever.
That would actually be kind of awesome.
I would love that.
I'd be down.
But again, that's a Scream Queens thing because they kind of did.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
I don't remember season 2 that well, to be honest. Though season 2, except for the Chad Radwell scenes. Yeah, Jay, you got to watch Scream Queen. Chad Radwell's one of the greatest characters ever written.
Underrated series. Sadly, it only lasted 2 seasons.
That needed a third. It
did.
Season 2 was rough, but it needed a third.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. What have you guys been watching?
I was lucky. I got to go to a special pre-screening of the new Christopher Landon movie, We Have a Ghost, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting because I was going in pretty blind, but it turned out to be kind of aimed toward more of a younger audience because it's basically about this family that moves into this house that turns out to be haunted. They have a ghost, as the title implies, and the ghost is David Harbour as this kind of schlubby middle-aged dude with like a comb over and wearing a bowling shirt who looks kind of like Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and they use the ghost to like get all this viral attention, and the dad, played by Anthony Mackie, is like trying to merchandise off of him, and the son, played by Jahi Winston, befriends the ghost, wants to help him, and it kind of turns into an Amblin E.T. style like chase adventure thing. It was a lot of fun. I really dug it.
I want to like Chris Landon films so much. They just haven't been my vibe so far between the Happy Death Day movies and Freaky. I see the appeal. I'm not on that wavelength, but I'm based on that description. I'm still going to keep watching them. Like, cause like I want to so badly to be on that vibe.
Yeah. Also, that has some really great casting. This because you got Tig Notaro as a kind of ghost hunter, and everybody's favorite Jennifer Coolidge plays a phony psychic who also tries to cash in on the David Harbour ghost. She has some fun scenes.
You sell me on Tig Notaro, Ghost Hunter, and just Jennifer Coolidge. I didn't even need to know what her character was. I'm super sold on that. Tig Notaro was the reason why I almost watched Army of the Dead. Almost. I still have.
She was the reason why I did watch Army of the Dead.
I was going to watch it, and then I saw the runtime, and I was like, I don't have that much time in my day to watch that much slow motion. Sorry.
Did either of you guys see the new Ant-Man movie, Quantumania?
Not yet.
It's weird because it's kind of a single serving Marvel movie. It's it's like a standalone, but it sets up it sort of like the last Ant-Man and the Wasp, where it kind of like was its own little movie, and then it kind of sets up what they're doing during the snap or the blip, I think is what they call it.
The blip, yeah.
This one, they're basically, it all takes place pretty much in the quantum realm, and it sets up basically who I think is going to be the big baddie for whatever the latter part of Phase 4 or maybe even Phase 5. This is setting up the Thanos of the new Thanos. Yeah, it's Kang, and it is. It's a fun little diversion from the norm. But see, all of the Phase 4 stuff, like Black Widow and Shang-Chi, they've all been kind of diversions as well, and even the Multiverse of Madness, well, that's the thing. What the multiverses are to Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, the quantum realm is to Ant-Man and the Wasp, because, they just kind of spend the time. I mean, it's even weirder than multiverses. Yeah. There's one scene where Kang basically has Ant-Man, sends him on a quest to do something, and every decision Ant-Man makes, he splits himself off into 2 different Ant-Mans, one that went one way and one that made the other way, and then each of those makes a decision. So at some point you have thousands of Ant-Men.
Yeah, I kind of saw that in the trailer with just a whole crowd of Ant-Mans.
Yeah, and it's funny because at one point one of them walks up to Ant-Man, and it's Paul Rudd at Baskin Robbins. Like, he made a decision and he never got fired from Baskin Robbins, so he still works. It's pretty, it's pretty funny. But it's a
quick question though. Is Ant-Man's crew from the previous 2 movies in this one?
His crew?
Yeah, the guy he does the group of guys he does like the heist with.
No, it's basically the family: Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, and then they replaced the daughter.
Yeah.
It's not the same daughter from Endgame. It's actually the whole time I was watching it, I'm like, who is that? I know this girl's face. I know this girl's face. And I looked her up and she's been in a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, no, not from there, not from there, not from there. She's the girl from Paranormal Activity 4.
Well, and Freaky.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Freaky is not what I recognized her from. I'm like, no. I know her from something else. She's the girl from Paranormal Activity 4.
Oh, she
Catherine
is the
Newton.
one from 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine Newton is her name.
All I remember of 4 is just going, wow, this Xbox 360 thing is not going to, this Xbox Connect thing has not aged well at all.
4 is the forgettable one of the Paranormal Activity movies.
Yeah, so I can't believe they built that movie around the Xbox Connect.
I actually thought that was kind of rad, but it does look dated. But it's funny because the most forgettable Paranormal Activity movie is the one that I remember this girl from. Maybe she's the only thing worth remembering in it. But yeah, it doesn't really have like, the guy who explains the plot of all the previous movies.
Yeah. Michael
Damn,
Pena.
I like those guys.
Yeah, it doesn't really have all those guys in it, but it still has the Ant-Man humor through most of it, I guess.
And it's got MODOK. That's
Oh my
what I'm
God.
doing.
I heard about MODOK.
Listen, I love MODOK. I'm a huge fan of the animated series. MODOK is one of the funnest.
He's just as silly as you think he's gonna look. Honestly, it's basically the actor's head stretched out and then little arms and legs coming out of it. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's MODOK though. Like I know a lot of people are critiquing it. I'm like, honestly, unless you go like full like in the comics and make his face more demonic looking and stuff, it's gonna be an actor's face stretched out, and it's. The fact that they made it Corey Stoll is just fucking hilarious.
Because he was Bumblebee or whatever they called him, and so he actually
Yellow
has
Jacket.
Yellow Jacket, yeah. So he actually, Bumblebee is that's a Transformers movie.
Yeah.
He actually has history with Cassie, with the daughter. So there's that whole little subplot, but MODOK is something else.
I'll watch it. I'm an MCU fan. I'll admit it.
Yeah, it's cool, and I think it's going to be essential for the rest of for what comes from here on out, because it definitely sets up Kang as the
major villain.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I've been doing some catching up on some titles I've been wanting to watch recently. Some things went on sale on Vudu, so I've been buying them there. I finally watched Virtuosity. Have you guys ever seen that?
Virtuosity.
The first time Denzel and Russell Crowe team up.
Well, they don't team up in this.
Well, I mean, they team up as actors, but it's just funny because I watched American Gangster for the first time like a few days prior. So I was like, oh, shit, this is them, but younger. And
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it's a great double feature.
It's kind of a loop because, in Virtuosity, it's like
Crowe is
Russell Crowe is like the AI Joker.
Well, in my opinion, Crowe is the villain in both because he plays a cop in the second one. So,
fair point.
But Virtuosity, Jay, have you ever seen that one?
I don't think so, no.
It was Brett Leonard, the guy that did The Lawnmower Man.
Yeah. So 1995, Russell Crowe plays an AI program called SID 6.7, and he is an evil motherfucker. Like he's the amalgamation, like they use personalities from like dozens of different serial killers to influence him.
I think I saw this. I probably saw it back in the 90s.
Dude, I'm telling you, he escapes from VR into the real world and just starts murdering, like massacring a bunch of people.
And dancing and like just having a blast.
Because they were using him kind of like as a Hannibal Lecter to kind of like get into the mind of serial killers. But okay.
But that's the thing. He gets out and he's basically the Joker.
He's basically like the ultimate serial killer. But he also has the personality of the serial killer who killed Denzel Washington's wife and daughter. And so it's personal. But Denzel is in prison because he murdered the serial killer. He's a cop in prison. So, but Jesus, it's 1995 computer graphics, 1995 computer theories on where VR is going and everything. And it is wacko. I mean, Russell Crowe eats every fucking scene he's in. I'm just chewing the scenery and I like never seen Russell Crowe perform like that before, and it was amazing. And Denzel is just playing it as straightforward as you possibly can. And then Kelly Lynch is there too. I think it's very weird how they had her character there, but I don't care. I love Roadhouse, so we'll watch it. what she's in. But yeah, dude, Virtuosity, I highly recommend it to anyone. It's just pure mid-90s cheese. If you like Lawnmower Man, if you go like, oh, Matrix had some really cool ideas about technology and where that's going, I want to see someone not do that well. Virtuosity, it is such a fun ride. Watch it with the beer, smoke a J or something beforehand. You're gonna have a blast.
Is it a double feature with Hackers?
I'd say watch it back to back with Lawnmower Man.
That's a great triple feature. And then if you're still awake and still sober enough, throw on Lawnmower Man too.
Jesus,
that's
a rough ending there.
Hey, Lawnmower Man 2 is a lot of fun, I think. But on the other side of that, I also finally watched The Devil to Pay, which has been on my radar for a minute. It's from the duo that did Becky. And it came out around the same time, like 2019, 2020. But it also stars the actress from Till, before she did Till, Danielle Deadwyler. And it's about this Appalachian woman whose husband goes missing after heading down the mountain for something she doesn't quite know. So it's just her and her son. And she ends up getting like pulled into this like Appalachian Creed / like family mafia situation. And it's very interesting. It's very kind of low budget. There's some Coen brothers influence in there. But it's a fun little thriller with an amazing performance from Danielle Deadwyler. I can definitely see why, she was chosen for Till, which is such a hard, project to take on. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I think it's cheap on Vudu right now too, or you can watch it for free with ads. But I enjoyed that one quite a bit. It was pretty brutal. There's a few scenes with a cult in it that are very, very weird. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a dismembering there of a member's member.
Oh
yeah, it goes there in some places, but it was very good. It was very like I really dug the myth building or the world building of like, here's these people that live in these mountains and they have their way set, and like you can see when they leave the area, there's like the hood of a car that has like spray painted on it where the creed does not protect you past this point, and they keep talking about like this creed that they are talking about, and there's like this whole thing about like families going to war. So it's very interesting. Yeah, very good. I liked it a lot more than Becky, which I like Becky, but like this one I was like, damn, you guys, I'm excited to see what this duo does next, if that was their first two.
I really liked Becky. Now I'm kind of excited about this then, if you liked it more.
Yeah, if you like Becky, this one I think for me, Becky, it had like a humor thing that kind of threw me off a bit with it. This one doesn't have that. It's very much so straightforward and like suspenseful thriller.
As for me, I went to the Blade triple feature at the New Beverly last weekend, and
oh fuck yeah,
that was a fun time. Also, it was my first time seeing the first Blade and Blade Trinity. I'd seen Blade 2 last year, but yeah, it was just for some reason, I'd never really.
You've never seen Blade?
Yeah, I never really got around to seeing Blade till then.
Oh.
And I mean, I got to see it with a full house, so it was well worth the wait. Just it is amazing, just kind of how far ahead of the curve, those movies were, and like Wesley Snipes is just so damn good as Blade. Like everybody like lost their shit, and like there was an applause break like in Blade 1 and Blade 2 when he got his sunglasses back and he's about to wreck shit up on the vampires.
Yeah, dude. How did the crowd react to some motherfuckers were trying to ice skate uphill?
I'd say Citizen Kane levels of standing applause.
Well, that's because it's one of the greatest, most confusing action lines ever. Because it's like, what? But also, I guess it makes sense.
It sounds bad. Well, I think it's because it's like you're like so arrogant that you try to ice skate uphill.
Yeah,
but it's also like it's just a line Wesley Snipes made up. It wasn't in the script. He just came up with that himself.
Which I guess works because the main villain in the first one's name is Deacon Frost. So I guess there's that connection.
Okay, I get that. Also, Donald Logue, very underrated. Like he was speaking of eating up the scenery, because like he was eating up the scenery in that one too, and he was having a blast. And it's just such a fun guy. I would love to see him in more stuff.
Not to mention, in the beginning when they're in the hospital and that one person hits Blade, and he's just like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah, well it's like the two cops. And, yeah, they just run off, and that's the thing. Like all the Blade movies, shit on cops. Like Blade basically says ACAB because like he doesn't hold back. Like he takes down cops and like the SWAT team and whatever that's sent after him in like all three movies. Like just the cops are the bad guys pretty much in all three movies.
Well, in the second one, the real bad guy was the CGI in that one ninja fight scene that looked like PlayStation 2 cutscene.
I don't really remember that. That must have been in Blade Trinity.
No, it was Blade 2. It was the Shadow one when they dropped down. The CG was real rough.
Honestly, it wasn't as noticeable. But really though, the bad CG was pretty much all in Blade Trinity. Like, good God, that CG Dracula was awful.
Yeah. And that weird adult store scene with Dracula.
Oh yeah, the goths. Yeah, that was very out of place.
I didn't get that.
And no, basically, as high as the highs with Blade 2 were, Blade Trinity was the low of the lows. Good God.
Yeah.
And just that had to be one of the worst Draculas I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I am glad I got to finally see it, or at least have an excuse to watch it. And I mean, it did have its moments. Like I like Triple H and his vampire Pomeranian.
Yep.
But
I love that Pomeranian.
But yeah, I could kind of see how that one killed the franchise.
Momentarily, we're getting a new one.
Yeah, that's true. Well, momentarily is in like 19, 20 years later.
Well, we did have the TV show on Spike TV that was
Oh yeah.
not much better than Trinity, to be honest.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that for obvious reasons. And aside from that, I also saw the new Neil Marshall movie on Shudder, The Lair. And yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It was like it was basically dog soldiers in Afghanistan and with like kind of a ragtag group, Marines and people. Like they find this old Russian bunker that turns out like the Russians were experimenting with alien technology and genetics. And so there's like this army of like alien killing machine monsters in this lab that are now out, and they got to fight them off. And yeah, it's not his best in the CG, a little egregious at times, but I dug it. I was definitely having fun with it. And just it got this ridiculous group of Marines and characters and the setup and just ample amount of gore. And we'll give them credit that there was a bunch of practical effects, Predator style suits for the monster men. So yeah, no, I think it was a fun watch.
No, that sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds kind of video gamey. Is it fun like watching someone play a first person shooter maybe?
Oh yeah. No, definitely feels in line with like watching somebody play like Doom or Resident Evil.
Nice. I also this week went to the West Coast premiere of one of Troma's new films called Eating Miss Campbell,
Nice.
which it has a bit of a confusing plot, but it's about a vegan goth high school student who falls in love with her new English teacher and develops a problematic taste for human flesh. That's the official description. And what happens is they end up having like an eating contest to see who will be the person to commit the school's massacre. Like they have a chance to either commit the massacre or kill themselves to put the school on the map. Basically the whole movie, it's English. It's a English director. They filmed it out in England. I think they said they filmed it for like £60,000. And so it's critiquing, America and its love for guns and its issue with massacres and all that. And Lloyd Kaufman produced it, so it is a Troma film, but it's not like an in-house Troma. In-house Troma. You know how there's like those distinctions within the Troma distribution. There's the ones they buy, there's the ones that they have a hand in, but not full hands on, and then there's the ones where it's like, no, this is a Lloyd Kaufman production. And this one's in that middle ground, but it is the most Troma film possible. Like you can definitely tell that the director. Liam Reagan grew up on Troma. It's a love letter to that. There's a lot of meta references to other films such as Jawbreaker and other high school movies like that. the best way to describe the quality is the best way to describe anything from Troma is it's Troma. So if you love Troma, you're gonna love Eating Miss Campbell. It is very, very, very Troma. Not as much nudity as there usually is in a Troma film. That was a fun discussion to have with them after. But it's a lot of fun. And our friend of the podcast, Justin Martell, has a role in it. You also get to see a bunch of other Troma alumni in there, such as Vito Trigo is in it as well, and he's been in a lot of Troma films over the last 10 or 15 years. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Again, if you like Troma, this is for you. I was definitely traumatized by the end of it. Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds like a wild ride.
Yeah, it was very.
Let's transition to our topic, which we kind of got thinking about after we all saw Knock at the Cabin last week. And that is home invasion movies. And first off, I think we need to define what a home invasion movie is, because Correia sent around this list that he found. Where was that from? Creepy Catalog or?
Yeah, it was an article from Creepy Catalog from Jordan Windagel. And it said it was 60 best home invasion movies.
And their definition of home invasion is pretty loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely got into more like, well, this film has a lot of elements like it. Like they talked about the Scream movies in it. And so we're going to kind of shy away from like this film had a scene that was like and go more into like this was like the whole central point of the movie. It was a.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're like, they have like a Black Christmas and When a Stranger Calls in there. And it's like, okay, I guess technically your home is being invaded, but that's more like a creepy stalker, the call coming from inside the house. I mean, we're talking kick down the door, tie you to a chair, home invasion,
Well, and that's where it gets murky too, because like when we think home invasion, it's your home getting invaded. So like people under the stairs, they were taken into that home. That's one of the distinctions that we think about when it comes to home invasion or When a Stranger Calls. Yes, but that feels more like the elements are that's where you get murky is like there's elements there and it's like, but that's more proto slasher.
Yeah. And the one that kind of not really confused me, but the one that I'm a little murky on is Wait Until Dark. Is that a home invasion movie?
100%. 100%.
You think? Because the people are kind of being invited in, but so I guess it's a polite home invasion movie.
I would say it's more proto than anything. Kind of like how Black Christmas would be proto slasher. This is kind of proto home invasion. But I mean, I'll take any opportunity to talk about how much I love Wait Until Dark because it's so Audrey Hepburn is in it. She's playing a blind woman who has an item that has drugs in it. So the drug dealers are trying to get into the house and find it. And so it becomes like they're sneaking around her. She's like, there's someone here. Who's there? And they're like standing still and stuff. And then that brilliant marketing ploy of when it was in theaters, they had a scene where they kill all the lights. And so they would kill all the lights in the theater and it would just be sound. So you're now on her level. Brilliant.
It's so, and the thing is, she is so smart because at one point she says, why are you wearing the same shoes as that other guy? He's like, oh, yes. What? He's like, oh no, your shoes squeak in the same exact way as that other guy because he's pretending to be two different people.
Mm-hmm. He thinks he's outsmarted her, and then she pulls out the shoe thing.
But then the killer, the invader, Alan Arkin, he kind of outsmarts her because she smashes all the light bulbs to get him on her level, and then she forgets about the one in the refrigerator. Yeah, it's so good. So good. We may have just spoiled a couple of the surprises for Jacob, but
I'm telling you right now,
it's from 1967. You should have seen it by now.
Yeah, but go online, order yourself a Blu-ray of the Warner Archive Blu-ray, which did a decent transfer, and watch that tonight. Because Alan Arkin is menacing. Audrey Hepburn plays like that perfect line of like damsel in distress into like strong power, like just turning the tables like that. Because of course, it's going to be a brilliant performance by Audrey Hepburn. Come on.
May we have Geraldine on the table too? No, we may not. And why not? Because she's the referee. Oh my God. Oh, that's so good. Such a good one. But okay, to home invasion movies.
Yes.
Okay, so we've decided Wait Until Dark is a home invasion movie.
Yeah, but
Okay.
So for us, the definition of home invasion is someone in their own place of residence, and others are coming in to wreak some form of havoc, whether it's violence, various forms of violence, what have you. We're not going to critique on motivation to fit outside of that box, but I think for a good home invasion movie, motivation is key. Like, why are they doing this? I'm don't get me wrong, always like violence in my films, but senseless violence can sometimes just feel meh. Where it's just like, But
although then again, sometimes a lack of motivation is in itself pretty scary.
Which makes incredible motivation. So we mentioned the strangers a lot on this podcast and how great it is of why are you here? Because you were home. It's such a great line. But
and that makes it all the more terrifying because these people are completely innocent and they just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Another film, or I should say two films that's very similar to that is Funny Games.
Yes. Yep.
Which both are great. I know a lot of people are like, it's just redoing the first one, but
that's what we have to explain. You say two films. Yeah. There's two Funny Games.
There's the original and then there's the English language remake. But I mean,
both Michael Haneke, right?
Yeah, it's the same director. He does it almost scene for scene exactly, but he always wanted to have A-list celebrities as the couple as like a part of the critique, so you get to see what he originally wanted. And it's
Naomi Watts and Tim Roth is who he used
in the remake,
the A-list stars.
Yeah, and then he also had what's his face from Boardwalk Empire.
I can't think of his name, but the creepy dude.
Pitt. Not Brad Pitt, the other Pitt.
Yeah, no,
but I don't think they're related.
Michael Pitt.
There we go.
His name, Michael Pitt. Yeah.
But she was great as one of the invaders, and that one is great because it's in those lines of like, yeah, you were just home, or we're just doing this to like these rich people in this rich area. But the motivation is like they're just playing a game. Like they're just like, oh, we're playing a game, but we're not telling you the rules or how to play, and this is how it is. It's an inescapable game of just like messing with them. The whole scene with the eggs.
Oh my god! I was just about to bring that up, where he's, and he's borrowing eggs, but then he keeps breaking them. He's like, oh, sorry, can I have more? It's just such a good give and play between him and Naomi Watts. Oh my god!
Yeah, I still got to watch those. I haven't seen either version.
Watch the original first, I will say, and then watch the other one like a day or two later, and it is a fun exercise. And it's I wouldn't say it's a more enjoyable experience than watching the two psychos, but because the subject matter is not fun, but it is interesting to see like what the same director would do in redoing his own work. In that sense, it is interesting and fun.
Yeah, and one I wanted to bring up, that personal favorite of mine from the 2000s. Do you guys remember The Collector?
I've never seen the Collector movies.
Yeah, well, yeah, The Collection. Well, it's funny because The Collector is more of a kind of, more standard-ish home invasion movie, while The Collection is kind of a twist because they're invading the home of the Collector. But yeah, no, it's the first one I still really like, and it was really intense because it's basically about this small-time thief who breaks into this house, and it turns out the same time as this serial killer who breaks into people's houses and sets up death traps in the houses to take them out. And now that's really scary to me, just the fact that like not only is this person breaking into your house to get you, but they're turning your house into a death trap with like acid traps, and I think there was like sticky glue traps and like razor wire and stuff. So it's like you wake up and suddenly your house, which is supposed to be a place where you're safe, is suddenly like just trying to kill you. Plus, just that whole design with like the black mask and the glow and the weird shimmering eyes.
It's like a Dr. Decker mask almost.
No, it's like a stitch on.
Yeah.
What about Us?
Yeah.
You consider that a home invasion? Because there's that one scene where it definitely is, where they're standing in the driveway and then they come in. But then you think about it, they also invade the other couple, the Elizabeth Moss
Yeah.
house. So it's like these people's the tethered are home invading their counterparts on the surface. So it's a different, it's almost like a sci-fi home invasion.
Yeah, I would say it's like an existential home invasion because like it's a whole thing. Like
It's a life invasion, isn't it?
yeah,
They're invading
yeah,
your life to take over.
yeah, shit. What are they called again? The entwined,
The tethered.
the tethered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the tethered are invading the homes of everybody they're tethered to. So it's like you just think it's like this weird one home invasion with the main family. And then it turns out like everybody's getting their home invaded.
But it's
And
not just their homes, like they're there to
Their
take
lives,
over
yeah.
their lives to take their place. So it's like a life invasion.
Yeah, yeah. No.
So Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a home invasion movie too then. Now we're stretching.
It's kind of a gray territory. But yeah, no, I'd say that Us counts as a home invasion movie, even, just kind of conceptually.
Well, here's one from that. And I kind of like referring back to this list, to this debate of like, is it Parasite from 2019?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Would you consider that a home invasion story? Because
It's a subtle one.
it's a long game one.
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah.
how the family infiltrates and stuff.
It's a grift.
I do like the different takes, because there's the ones where it's just like, all right, we're breaking it down the door, we're coming in, so I like the different takes on it, kind of like the one that inspired the topic for us this week, which was knock at the cabin, which we had. Yeah, they were home invaders, but they were reluctant. They didn't want to be there. They didn't want to be doing the things that
They had a higher purpose.
but they had a higher purpose. And that's why I always say I think motivation is key, and the lack of motivation could be key too. And so, yeah, I think Parasite, it's one of those weird ones where it's like, is it? It kind of is. It has the elements there. It's definitely the long game con grift version of it, but yeah, that's it. It's an interesting one to think about. Here's another one I'm going to throw out here. Would you guys consider Alien one?
Alien?
I mean, that spaceship is their home. It's invaded by an alien.
Yeah, to me, Alien is just a slasher. Honestly, I mean, the alien is hunting them down one by one. So I don't know if I'd call it home invasion, because then by that regards, aliens could be home invasion because they're invading the aliens' home.
They're the invaders in that one.
Yeah,
I think we're just looking.
Really
we're
stretching.
We're stretching. We're looking for excuses to bring up aliens again.
One that is the opposite of Parasite, like in subtlety wise, is I brought this up a few episodes ago. Hate crime. Have either of you guys get around to Hate crime?
No.
No.
It's on Tubi. It's it's real low budget. It's basically found footage. And it is it's a tough watch. I mean, it really is just brutal. I mean, it's not super well made. Like there's times like they tie up the kids and you're like, oh, that kid could get out, things like that. But it's pretty brutal. And it's basically, neo-Nazis kick in the door of this Jewish family's house is essentially what it boils down to. And that's why it's a hate crime. But it's the opposite of long game Parasite subtlety. It is, quick strike, about as subtle as a jackhammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your description of it the last time you brought it up made me okay with not watching it. I'm just, most of the time when I go to watch a movie, I'm not thinking what's the most brutal thing I could watch right now, and that's my thing. It's just like I'm all set.
It piqued my interest that found footage documentary that we watched.
Oh, right.
The one on Shudder.
Yeah, the found footage phenomenon.
Yeah. That one, that they kind of talked about it a lot, and it piqued my interest because the director is basically saying that what he shot is his nightmare. And I can totally see that. And I'm like, well, let's take a look at what this guy's nightmare is. So, I don't think I'll ever watch it again. But, I'm fine with having watched it once because it is, it's worth seeing. But it definitely is not a comfortable movie.
Yeah, I would not imagine.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be, though.
Right. No. And that's my reason. It's not me going, oh, it sounds like a shitty film, I don't want to watch it. It's just, it's like, that sounds really brutal. And I don't know if I'm in the mood for it. It's kind of like with Lynch films. It's why I still have my DVD of Lost Highway after 15 fucking years. It's just like, when am I going to be in the mood for this? Is there a mood for this? Is there a vibe? You know, maybe I just got to force myself someday to watch Lost Highway finally. Now that I have it on Blu-ray now, I got rid of the DVD that I never watched. I got the Blu. Another great one, and we know it's great because it's from one of our favorite creators, Hush, from Mike Flanagan. That one was very. It was basically like, yeah, let's do Wait Until Dark, but instead she's deaf, and let's really make it a home invasion story. So it's her versus one guy in a mask, and Kate Sagal.
Yeah, no spoilers. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh no, just Kate Sagal's deaf. And it's one guy trying to get in, and it's a very cat and mouse game. A bit. It's on Netflix. And
yeah,
highly
it's been on my
recommend
list for a
it.
while.
Yeah, it's very suspenseful. Really dig it. There's a lot of great scenes. Like you can definitely tell that like they were harnessing that what we were talking about with Wait Until Dark of the I got you now. Do you though? Maybe standoff stuff of like outsmarting one another. It's a lot of fun. And you get to see a lot of like because it's early Flanagan too. I think it was like his second or third one. And you see a lot of Flanagan faces, players pop up in roles. So it's fun. Yeah, I like Hush a lot.
Yeah, and we would be remiss if we did not mention probably one of the biggest cult favorite home invasion movies, Alone in the Dark.
Yeah.
That one's a classic, and just I feel like it's one of those situations where it's like more is better in this case, because it's not just like one psycho trying to break in. It's like, what was it, 4 or 5 psychopaths?
I still haven't watched it.
It's 4. Oh, dude,
I know. You can't see it because we're on a podcast. I have the Blu-ray. I bought it when it came out, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm sorry.
It is literally one of my favorite movies, and I'm taking it as a personal insult that you haven't watched it.
Yeah.
The most, ever since I was a kid and I'd watch it, the most terrifying scene has to do with the home invasion aspect of it. It was when the babysitter's on the bed and he's stabbing up. He's under the bed. The psychopath is under the bed and he's stabbing up, trying to get the babysitter like through the bed. Oh yeah. So scary.
Yeah, no, and also just a great cast of psycho killers too, because like you got Jack Palance, Martin Landau, and it's been a while since I've rewatched it, but yeah, just Jack Palance just had that real aura of menace. Yeah, because Jack Palance was like the veteran who had PTSD, and it just like he would kind of go on those monologues. And I think Martin Landau was the evil priest who was obsessed with purification and killing. Yeah, no, just if you got to have home invaders, you got to make sure they really stand out, or you got to have good actors for that. Yeah,
you got to have again. Again, it's the motivation. It's why are they doing this? So you got like The Purge. That series started off with a home invasion story.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of motivations, now The Purge, I have kind of love-hate with The Purge, because I'll always watch them because the concept is so amazing, but I don't think any of the movies have actually landed with me. But the first Purge, not the first Purge, the first Purge movie, The Purge.
It's so confusing. Why'd you go Xbox? It's like with Xbox where they're like Xbox One, but it's not the first one. Like, fuck off. But
why did they do that? The Purge, the Ethan Hawke one, that had me for like the first 2/3, because it is basically a home invasion movie, and then it turns into just a shoot 'em up, and you're like, ugh.
Well, I always said that The Purge is it's a very straightforward like home invasion story, but it's the world building that they do in that first movie on what The Purge is. And spoilers for the first of like a long franchise that's been out for a while, but the motivation on why they're doing it is because Ethan Hawke's character, and you learn this very early on, he makes money by selling the insurance and the security systems to people for it. So he's profiting off of people dying, by people trying to not die.
Not so much people dying. He's profiting off of the fear that the purge instills in people.
And I always dug that as like the motivation. And I love that series just because, and I do think Anarchy is still my favorite one. Because I do think that is the one that like is like, all right, because you spend the whole first movie kind of out like in the world, but outside of it, you're very in this like one spot. Whereas Anarchy's like, all right, we're going into it hard. And that is the one that goes like, no, if someone was in a scenario, what would they do? And you get to see that guy who wants the revenge, who goes out, he's been training, he's been stocking up, he's going hard. And then you meet all the little weirdos along the way, like the one woman who with the microphone going, "This is my right as a proud American. I have the right to purge."
Is it Anarchy or Election Night, the one that has the people they're walking down like an aisle or something, and then a trap comes by and misses them, and the people on the balcony are like, "Oh," and they're like, "Oh,"
because they're watching it on the.
I think that was Anarchy.
And they're trying, they're just seeing it, and when they don't get them, they're like, "Oh, have a good night, you got," they're like, oh,
like they escape, they're like, "All right, have a good one,"
and they're gonna reset their trap for the next person.
Yeah. Those are the moments that I always love in the Purge movies. It's just seeing like the creative, like this is how this person would, or like I think it was the third one where they had the tourists, coming in, and then there's like the TikTok stars of it, stuff like that. And then like the Forever Purge where it's just like it never ends. Like that was fun. I have so much fun with those movies. But yes, I'd never forget that it started off as a home invasion story.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing. Like it had like a really strong concept that they could build up on, and yeah, it's like because that was the thing, or that was the biggest critique of the first movie, that it was just a home invasion. Then we only really saw, like around the house and stuff. And people wanted to see more of this weird world where, for one night, crime is legal in the United States.
Gotta start somewhere.
Speaking of protection systems, what about Panic Room?
That's one that most people, like, you don't think about it with home invasion because you're always thinking of like the gnarlier ones, like something like Last House on the Left, I guess, or
yeah.
Stuff like that. But like Panic Room is kind of like it's kind of the Prestige.
Yeah. It's David Fincher.
Well, yeah, because it's the this isn't a home invasion story. This is a thriller starring Academy Award winner Jodie Foster.
That's what it is. It's like he's making a horror movie that he wanted to be Oscar bait. So he got Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart, before she was Bella.
Before she was Kristen Stewart, yeah.
Yeah.
But I always had fun with Panic Room. The ending gets a little silly with the whole fire at the top of the thing and stuff.
Well, that kind of takes some people out of it because the science isn't there. But
yeah,
Jared Leto with cornrows.
Oh, geez, I forgot about that.
Yeah, oh, why would you remind me that? Ew, no.
And Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker, always great. Always great.
He's always
You brought
great.
me back. You brought me back. But no, that's always fun. What are your guys' favorite type of home invasion stories? Because I mean, like with all these ones, we're seeing different things. There's like you're trapped. You got to come back. You got to come out at some point. Type deals.
I was actually going to say, I think this might be kind of on the edge, but like I would consider Assault on Precinct 13 to be a home invasion movie in a way. It's a siege. It's a
siege movie. Yeah,
siege.
Which, yeah, I guess there is a bit of a subtle difference there.
A bit. There's definitely the elements, but siege movies are great too, and Assault is one of my favorite ones.
I think my favorite kind is the typical like the Strangers, where you've got basically these mysterious masked people busting in, but also where like the Strangers, they don't really fight back effectively. Let's talk You're Next.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, where they do fight back effectively, especially Erin, the quote final girl, who it's like and there's a motivation behind when why the invaders are there, and they did not count on Erin being who she is.
I do like the subversion because in these types of stories it would just be like innocent victims and these like strange mass weirdos who just decide to break into this home and kill people, and then it just subverts that because there is actually a reason for this to happen. And they didn't think that like somebody would be survivalist who's combat ready because Erin like grew up in like a survivalist camp or something.
I love subversions on any genre. And for home invasion, one of my favorites is You're Next, because you got the people breaking in, they're invading the home, but they become the victims very quickly. We're not going to talk about Don't Breathe 2. We're not.
I was going to say it's not Don't Breathe 2, Don't Breathe. The first one, where they're trying to rob the guy.
Yeah.
That's another one where it's like they don't know where they're breaking into. They think that this blind guy is going to be easy pickings.
Yeah.
And he's not.
And then it turns out there's some skeletons in the closet and some secrets in the basement.
And you know what? I'm also kind of a fan of the, I don't want to say Lifetime-esque breaking in movies, but there's ones like Breaking In with Gabrielle Union or No Good Deeds, where they're kind of the more soap opera type deal, especially No Good Deeds. It's so cheesy. Idris Elba is the guy who's like breaking into the house because of like, I don't fully remember it, but I just remember it just being so silly and so fun. I dig those kind of like melodrama kind of ones where they're not really going for like the horror crowd. They're more so going for like the, reverse. It's like an inversion of romance novel type deals. I don't know.
It's almost like they're catering them towards a female demographic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, it's Lifetime for you.
Yeah. Well, these aren't Lifetime movies, but they are. But they feel like it. Yeah.
They're like that big budget Lifetime type deals, or like what is it? It's not home invasion, but like the Jennifer Lopez, like the Boy Next Door thing.
Oh yeah.
Like those. They're their
Obsession,
own
stalkery type of movies.
Obsession with Beyonce.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Remember that movie? That's up there.
Not really.
Katherine Heigl plays a crazy lady who's obsessed with it. Yeah, no, eat it up. Single
Also,
white female
Fear
type
with
deal.
Marky Mark.
That was on the list as home invasion, but I don't. That's obsessed stalker one. But of course, love Fear. Are you kidding me? William Peterson, Reese Witherspoon, when he's beating his chest. Like, what the fuck you doing, Marky? And then like you find out later. So good. Fear's a classic.
And another one that's on that list that I kind of had forgotten about is High Tension, which is on the surface, it's a home invasion movie. When you get to the twist, you realize that the invader is not who you think the invader is. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but who hasn't seen High Tension by now? The end of it, I always thought it's clever, but it's also a bit of a cop out.
Yeah, still kind of not a big fan of that twist. I don't know.
Yeah.
So any others that we want to
Well, there's also the classic genre of home invasion stories where it's kids fighting off, someone breaking into their house. You got your Home Alone.
Oh yeah,
your Becky. Better watch out.
Also, most recently, Kids versus Aliens. That kind of counts because it's like the kids fighting off home invasion of aliens.
Yeah. And let's not forget the greatest one of all, the one that Home Alone ripped off, Dial Code for Santa.
Oh, yeah. Dial Code
AKA
Santa Claus.
Deadly Games.
Yeah. No, there's what's worse than a home invader? A home invader dressed as Santa Claus, which I guess also kind of applies to the Tales from the Crypt episode, because it's like the Santa Claus
all through the house. Yeah.
All through the house. Yeah.
I wasn't going to bring that one up because that is pure kinder trauma to me. That movie terrified the shit out of me as a child. But no, it's so good. The original. And then the Tales from the Crypt episode was decent as well. But the original Tales from the Crypt movie.
Yeah, the British one.
Terrifying. When the bell comes out from the curtain.
And somebody put it best, just like the big difference between the two, because, in the TV version, Larry Drake looks like a psychopath and, you can tell that this is a killer Santa Claus, while in the Tales from the Crypt movie, like it's just a dude dressed as Santa Claus. He could be any guy dressed as Santa Claus at the mall, which in a way is scarier because he blends in so well.
Well, and it makes the whole point that we're spoiling two different versions of it. And if you haven't read the original EC comic as well, so we're spoiling 4 different mediums, I guess. But when the kid lets him in, it's more believable in the original one because it's like, oh, this is he looks like Santa Claus. He does look like a mall Santa. So, but like, yeah, Larry Drake, they definitely did him up to look even crazier. Our Larry Drake,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. man. Fucking the Darkman sequels.
Dr. Giggles.
Dr. Giggles, which is finally getting a decent Blu-ray. Well, I mean, they had that other Blu-ray, but the transfer wasn't great. But yeah, I mean, that was always a fun Troma, and that's good. Like intro, it's like, oh, hey, kid, you liked Home Alone? Let's watch Dial Code. Let's watch Tales from the Crypt. Better Watch Out is also a fun one. Definitely hard. Taking on a lot of the what was established with Home Alone.
The Home Alone is it's kind of bringing it full circle. It's kind of a continuation of the Wait Until Dark theme, or even Don't Breathe, because they think that this is going to be easy pickings because it's a kid, but they don't realize that kid grows up to be Jigsaw.
Allegedly.
That's the theory.
Although they got to get Macaulay Culkin in a Saw movie, since that's coming back. Like, it turns out he's like another apprentice or something.
Hey, Saw X is filming right now.
Right on. That means we have to have Charlie back.
I was about to say, going to get another Charlie Clouser score.
All right, cool. Let's call this an episode. I've got my Charlie Clouser mention in, so we'll get the hell out of here now. What are your favorite home invasion movies? We've kind of scratched the surface, but also, how strict are you with the genre definition? Are we discounting stuff that should be considered? Let us know. Our theme music is by Restless Spirit, so go give them a listen. And our artwork is by Chris Fisher, so go give him a like. You can find us on any of the socials under Eye on Horror or at iHorror.com, which is the site that we call home. So yeah, let us know what you think of home invasion movies and whether we're being too loose or too tight with our definition.
Are you upset that we didn't mention Cape Fear or Cape Fear?
Cape Fear or Cape Fear?
Both are great, by the way.
And also the Simpsons episode, Cape Fear.
Are you upset that we didn't bring up Ills or Them?
I still need to see them. I wanted to bring it up, but I was like, fuck, I haven't watched it. Damn.
If you like these kind of movies, it's good. But
French Extreme, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get out of here. We're starting to up again. So we'll see you in a couple weeks. Maybe we'll do a part 2 of home invasion movies if we get enough of you that think that we're wrong on our definitions. So for me, James J. Edwards.
I'm Jacob Davison.
And I'm Jonathan Correia.
Keep your eye on horror.